The idiom that I'll be exploring in Jose Saramago's novel, Blindness, is on page 287, where the doctor's wife and the girl with the black glasses discuss the relevance of keeping something like hair after they've died, just in case someone else stumbles upon their grave. This happens after they find the corpse of the old woman who held the house keys for the girl. However, what came to their surprise was that the key was actually in her hand, and that as soon as she knew she was going to die, she had also opened the rabbit cages for them to not die as well. The quote that I felt took a grasp on one of the most important themes in the whole novel was when the doctor's wife stated that necessity is a powerful weapon. Before beginning my analysis and the comparison of this idiom to the different parts of the book, I first wanted to see the input of my other classmates.
So what I think is that from the context of the novel, what the idiom is trying to say is that because of the blind people were left with no food because all the thugs took all the food, so their need for the food became so powerful that they decided not only to attack the thugs, but also cause a fire, which in the end made them escape the whole mental asylum. So what I think the idiom is trying to say is that when a necessity becomes so powerful, so strong, and so immense, it can become a weapon in a way because you will do anything you can and want in order to get that need, that necessity.
And do you think that the case of the woman, when they gave themselves away to the rebels, to the other strongholds, to those who were controlling the ward, do you think that is also a necessity?
I think that was in a way a necessity, but I don't think it was in a way a necessity in the fact that they chose to do that for the men, and they took on the responsibility and did what they believed should be done. And the men would have been accepted with the fact that they would not do it, because that is a very unusual and very not pleasant thing to do, and very few would do such a thing. But at the point where they were in such a need of food, the woman decided to step up and do what they thought was the right thing.
It was the right thing, exactly. And do you think, because we can contrast this to we can contrast this to the doctor's wife actions and the woman in general. But what was interesting is that the doctor's wife didn't really have to do that, and but instead she joined in with the other woman, and even though her husband told her it was not a good idea, she still did, and she went and she gave herself away to the other men. Don't you think that is a necessity? That's what I was trying to implicate. That she thought it is a necessity to do it because other women are doing it, and so she kind of had to do it socially.
Well, what I think that she was trying to do was she was trying to be the leader, as she is later on in the novel, trying to be the leader. In that very moment, I think she was trying to encourage the girls, the rest of the girls, that what is the right thing to do is to go and give themselves to the men so that they could have food. And I don't think that it was very necessary in terms of her doing it for her own sake, but I think it was necessary for her to do it to encourage the other women to do it and to get the food that she thought was necessary for everyone to survive.
As Chris discussed, whether or not the woman felt it was a necessity to give themselves to the other men in the ward for rape is a question. I believe that this became less of an ethical decision, but more regarding survival and what it took to live, what it took to get the food. However, was it a necessity for the girl who was saved by the doctor's wife later on to set the barricade on fire and killing everyone in that ward? Did her necessity to fulfill her vengeance become a powerful weapon? Is that what the doctor's wife was stating? I wonder what an external student who hasn't read the book thought about this idiom and whether or not it connected to survival. On top of this, I also felt that one of the necessities or an obligation they had was to actually bury this woman, because she had the dignity to not be selfish in a society where chaos has struck, even though she didn't have to do it. And therefore, the word necessity can take upon a different definition, in this case, more of an ethical one.
Well, first of all, I can tell that this quote is objective, as the author is saying that necessity is a powerful weapon. He's not giving room for it to be an opinion and no one can counter it, in a sense. And at the same time, I think that when he or she says necessity, I think they're talking about the power or the need to do something can be seen as a drive to get people to do something. It's not the actual being uh, being in need of something that can be used as a weapon. I think it's what the necessity brings to the person. So, for example, if someone feels that it's necessary to kill someone, that can be used as a weapon because that's his justification for killing a person. And at the same time, I think that necessity isn't always an ethical choice. As Immanuel Kant said, that you have to generalize in order for something to be an ethical, consistent choice. So if everyone were to decide what is necessary and what is a necessity for them, how would the world be? And if one person subjectively could say that it's necessary for me to kill, if everyone else were to do that, we would have a significant loss in population. So that would cause that choice to be ethically inconsistent and not an ethical choice. But overall, I think that the author is referring to the drive that necessities can bring and how the idea of necessity and the feeling that it brings to the person causes it to be used as a weapon and how it feels like a weapon for the person.
Weapon. Do you think that the author might have, or the writer might have, implicated different definitions that could take place of necessity or weapon? Let's say weapon could take a different meaning in different situations.
I think that, yeah, for sure, but it also depends on the context a lot. And as I don't know the context and I don't know what's going on in the story, weapon can be also seen as an emotion, like anger or hate or something like that. And necessity can be seen as something that's natural in this story.
It's natural. Okay, thank you.